If you're a fan of viticulture, Viticulture World should be a no-brainer purchase for you. Let me tell you why. Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to dive into Viticulture World. So this is the Cooperative expansion, and it is an expansion. It is not a standalone product for viticulture. Full disclosure, I was sent a review copy of Viticulture World, but my copy of Viticulture I have owned for quite some time now. So in Viticulture World, looking out at the board here, you may think, oh, this is just a redrawing of a standard viticulture map, and you are very correct. A lot of it is quite similar. You know, we've got drawing and planting vine cards, playing summer visitor, playing winter visitor cards, drawing order cards, harvesting fields, making wine tokens, fulfilling wine tokens, giving tours. All of this looks very similar, and we even have train workers. But train workers mean something entirely different. Right off the bat, we'll see that our workers are losing their hats. We start the game with all of the workers we're ever going to have, but they've got these little hats on them, which are cute but quite restrictive. Yellow workers can only work in the summer. Blue workers can only work in the winter. Until we train them up and remove their hats, then they have the ability to work in any season. But that's not all that's different. The two biggest differences on the board are these two spots down here, spot H and spot P. Now, why do they all have letters on them? I'll get to that in a second. P gives you a way to gain what's called influence. And this influence is marked by this pink leaf here. Depending on your player count, you're going to start at a certain distance up this board. And to win, you need to get it to the 10. Okay, pretty straightforward. So another way to spend your money. But this right here, pay 4 lira to gain 1 innovation tile, is the whole crux of Viticulture World. Going to this spot allows you to choose from one of the two face-up tiles here. And this is where the letters come in, because you can see K is going to cover up K. So instead of harvesting one field, if I pay to innovate this action, I can now harvest all fields. That might be very lucrative. Also, these two here are the only I have to choose from in a particular year. But at the end of the year, these two are going to go away. So my opportunity to harvest all fields and to improve this action is going to go away at the end of the year. There's also 2 other tiles that are going to be up here. These oval tiles. These oval tiles allow you to improve the worker placement spots. At the beginning of the game, anything with a red circle around it is going to cost you to go there. So to simply plant a green vine card, I have to pay 2 lira. But if I can cover this up, I would actually gain 1 lira by going to this spot and planting a vine card. And not only that, a big gray oval like this is equal to a open placement spot on a regular viticulture, which means any number of workers can go here. You don't have to spend a grande worker to go here if somebody else has already gone here. And then you have fun ones like this arrow, which you can really strategize with, because the arrow means if I go here, I get this benefit. And you could have multiple arrows lining up with each other. You can even have arrows sometimes that go up or down. All of it pointing to maybe what you consider to be the best bonus action for placing a particular worker. So this right here, the ability to innovate your actions, means that you can upgrade your board throughout the game. You can take the basic actions of viticulture and you can choose when to upgrade them, whether it's worth upgrading. And throughout a 6-year game, choose how to improve your engine of making wine tokens. All of that is being done while there's a deck of event cards that are changing things up on you. They may change the end game winning conditions. They may change the actions you can go to, or it may even give you a new action to place your worker on the card. This is the continent of Asia, which is one of my favorites so far, and it's in the easier line of scenarios to play in. But one of the first things it does here, this card up here with a big number 1 on the back, you're going to flip it over and you're going to plop it right here. I now all of a sudden have completely changed the game because I go from having 2 options, 1 or 2 or 4 total options, 2 of each choice, to just 1 option. Obviously, I would have done this during setup and these would not have come out. But all of a sudden, I'm changing the rules, and Asia offers 6 additional cards, or 5 additional cards. They're going to overlay over the board here and completely change how you can play the game based on taking away or adding certain actions to the game. So it really throws you for a loop. It takes standard viticulture and it mixes it up so that you never quite know what's about to happen. All of this is cooperative. So you're all working together. The standard win conditions for Viticulture World are to get your leaf together up to 10, and to get each of your scoring markers, I only have 1 out for me, because we're going to talk about solo here in a second, get your 1 marker out up to at least 25 points. So not only do we have to continue making wine, fulfilling wine orders, gaining that residual income, but we also have to get our influence marker up. All of this is being done with us being able to discuss strategy in between seasons and say, hey, I need to really go here. Well, okay, let's upgrade that because I also need to go here. Maybe we can both go build a structure. Or let's upgrade harvest to field so each of us can go harvest to field every single round. Well, who's going to pay for the innovation tile? You know, can we go in together? So on and so forth. So Viticulture World is now cooperative. It is cooperative. Viticulture is now cooperative with Viticulture World. So that's game number 1 you get out of this box. That if you have somebody who you play often with, say it's your spouse, partner, roommate, whoever it may be, and you guys are always having friends over and you love to play viticulture, but you also play a lot of 2-player and you both know each other's strategies. Well, now you can flip it all on its head and strategize together against the scenario deck or the continent deck to try and be successful together. Now, I did mention in the intro that there are 2 ways to play Viticulture World. One is the cooperative way. The other is solo. Now, more than likely, if you are watching this video on my channel, you play solo games or have played a solo game in the past. Viticulture has a solo mode. It works fine. I've highlighted it on the channel. It's a great way to get into worker placement games, especially on the solo side. But what this one does is offers you a solo semi-cooperative experience. Now, I have coined that phrase. They have not. But let's talk about why I have come up with that phrase. First of all, your objective is still the same. You start 1 leaf further along on the solo track, but you still need to get to 10 influence to win the game. You still need to get your victory point marker all the way up to 25 victory points. The CP, or Bonto, as he is called, Bonto sits up at 25 and stays up at 25. So I don't even know why you have to bother putting a marker out. Bonto is going to have a hand of cards, 1 of each, that he's going to have throughout the game. These cards may change. They're going to sit off to the side. Bonto also gets some lira. He's going to get 3 lira at the beginning of every season. He can even help you innovate, take the H action to add an innovation tile to the game board, or he can help you in winter pay 8 lira to gain an influence. Perfect. This all sounds very cooperative, right? We're just simulating a bot, extra hand of cards, some more money to help me do everything. There's a catch. Bonto, in typical viticulture fashion, is not only going to gain his 3 lira at the beginning of every season, he's going to put out some workers. So at the beginning of summer, before I get to take any of my actions, he has now blocked off all of these spots. Well, that's no good. This feels very much like typical solo viticulture. He's just blocking my spots. I still need to get to a certain set of victory points in a certain amount of time, 6 seasons. So it's actually less time than Viticulture. The time frame is tighter. The game is tighter. But he's also doing that where he can help me upgrade the board. He also, if at any point I send my Grande worker to double up with him and have my Grande worker in the same spot as one of his workers, I can trade with him. I could trade one of my cards in my hand for one of the cards in his hand, and this is open information. I get to look at it. Or if we look at this little overlay tile here that you place for a solo game, maybe he would allow me to just give me a money. Or maybe I could give him 1 money because I want him to be able to pay for this P action in the next phase. He also will simply magically allow me to upgrade a grape token and then switch it. I mean, that's kind of magical right there. Or even upgrade a wine token and switch it. So this sits here. There is an overlay tile right here that actually makes innovating cheaper when Bonto's in the game. And a couple other tiles that you swap out for the main ones because they make more sense for playing with Bonto. But other than that, what was a cooperative experience of Viticulture World, where you were strategizing with your teammate, coming up with the best way to get you both to the victory conditions. Now, all of a sudden, you have someone who's helping you a little bit, but is still creating this puzzle that you need to solve. How can I get around him blocking off certain actions and still get to my end goal of 10 influence and 25 victory points? This is why I call it a semi-cooperative experience. And to my knowledge, at least this is the first one I've ever played that is semi-cooperative. He's helping you and hurting you both in a single turn, in a single season, in a single year. Your events still apply. And if there's an event card, this is all players must do something. Like, for example, there is an event in here that's going to say everybody must give a tour. So you put this little bell here that helps remind everybody, hey, you better send one of your workers here. Well, even if Bonto's card had sent his worker here, Bonto still magically takes care of it for us. He helps us out. He's never going to let you fail a scenario automatically if his worker doesn't randomly go to the proper location. Just like he can magically pay 3 of his lira to innovate and give you an upgrade tile of your choice, by the way, even if he's not on this action space, he's never going to let you fail a scenario because he didn't sit on the proper action. But he is still going to block off 4 actions in each season, making you have to work around him. So, semi-cooperative. As far as my overall thoughts on Viticulture World, I think this is a no-brainer expansion if you are a big fan of viticulture. I certainly would pick this up after you have had an experience with viticulture, though. I would not go diving in and make Viticulture World your first and only experience with viticulture. I would get settled with the base game, with the core game, maybe even add in Tuscany before you dive into this one. But I feel like if you've had viticulture around for a while and are looking for something to change up this classic worker placement game, this is perfect. This is right up your alley. Also, if you are someone who enjoys playing viticulture with friends, but also solo, like I do, this is also an excellent way to, again, mix things up. You can dive into this scenario deck with Bonto here. It creates a puzzle. Bonto makes it challenging enough that even easy scenarios, he might get in your way just enough that you don't quite get there and have to replay it. I feel like the variety is really good between the continents. So the scenarios are not all the same. They're not all, ooh, this one's blocked off this time, or ooh, everybody must harvest 1 field this turn. Each continent's deck feels very unique from the next one. And there is, the 7 continent or 7 decks for you to play through, plus the Green Gully promo pack, which I believe is very easy to get a hold of. It's the Charterstone continent, but it's the tutorial continent. It helps you learn strategies for being successful in the game. There is a tad bit of what I would call lack of replayability with the continents. I feel like once you have played through all of them, you probably have gotten to the point where you can't quite remember what, say, Asia did for you or did against you and what the strategy was for Asia. So more than likely, you can come back to them in the future. If you are such a heavy viticulture player, you're not going to blow through all 7 continents and then want to turn around and play through all 7 directly again. There is no shuffling of these decks. They come out in a specific order, so take that for what you will. Otherwise, I think this is a great way to mix up viticulture just enough. Viticulture's been out for so long, and so this tweaks it just a little bit, and every single game feels a little bit different from the next. It's not all about, getting on your residual income track early and then just being able to buy everything up in the end. That's not what this is about. This is about figuring out what events, how they're changing up the game, and changing your strategy to match. Whether you do that cooperatively or whether you do that with a little help from Bonto while he gets in the way. So there you have it. That's my review of Viticulture World. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.